Let's move into the next topic. We're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline predictions. NBA trade deadline's coming up in 5 days, February 6th.
Crazy.
It came so quickly.
I actually have a Twitch question to throw out for this because I told Sap that I would save it until this summer.
And right now, since we are live on twitch.tv/MostofIO Podcast, you can join us each and every week. Follow us on Twitter at MostofIO You can come and be in the discussion. You can throw out Twitch questions like we'll get to right now. And also you can support us on patreon.com/MostofIO Podcast where you can call me short. What's up? What was the question?
So the question was, this is from...
let's get these predictions going.
I'm just going to shorten the name. Sap, he said, what would be the asking price for a player of D. Rose? So basically, what's the asking price for Derrick Rose?
All right, so Derrick Rose right now, playing for the Pistons. Pistons are not going to be a playoff team. I mean, maybe they will be. I doubt that they're going to make a run. But, I mean, anything's possible in the Eastern Conference. Just recently signed a 2-year deal, averaging 18.9 points, 5.9 assists, 2.6 boards, 59% from the field, 31.8% from three, 87 from the line. 2.9 win shares. Again, we talked about the Pistons being a somewhat bad basketball team. They're 17-33. They're probably still only fucking 2 games out of a playoff spot. But with what we've heard about them, I don't think they're looking to move away from D. Rose. It doesn't really seem like that's something that they're looking into. It looks like mainly it's a Drummond move that's intriguing them. They're 11th right now in the East, and they are 5 games out of a playoff spot. So it wouldn't be shocking if they did move away from D. Rose, but he does have another year of control. So that's what you're going to have to take into is do they want to move a player that they might think will impact them next year? With Blake Griffin returning, maybe they do think that. He is fairly cheap as well, only costing them $7.6 million next year, and that is a guaranteed year. It's not a player op or team option deal. He'll be 31 as well. I would think, at least for a team that would want him, mainly being the Lakers, to have that secondary point guard that's better than Rajon Rondo, a guy that can score, a guy that can move the ball. I would think likely it would have to be in the first round pick range just because of his control.
Yeah, he's got an extra year on contract.
Yeah, just having that extra year of control is something that is important. They're not really looking to move off of him to free up cap space as well because he is fairly cheap at $7.6 million. I would think that it would have to be fairly steep, and also that first-round pick could possibly be driven up fairly quickly as well for the Pistons because if the Lakers are offering one first-rounder, they're really handicapped on what they can offer because of the AD trade. I don't even know if they can offer a first-rounder in general. So even if they were, I think they're probably only capable of throwing out one where a team could come in and just be like, hey, we'll give you a 1 and 2 twos. And D. Rose could be very helpful to a team, especially needing that bench guard to make a playoff push. So D. Rose's price, I think it's just something that can go up because that contract is super intriguing to teams and especially with his play. But Dave, what do you think about D. Rose's asking price? Where do you think it's going to be at?
I agree that it's going to be like if they decide to move on from him, it's a late one and some sort of usable player. It can't just be like absolute garbage. Like we joked about the Boogie contract being a filler because Kuzma's contract is so low because he's still on that rookie deal. I don't know if they would give up Kuz and him unless Darren Collison signs with the Clippers. I think that's one of the most interesting things is they have to be comparing each other. I listened to Woj on, I think it was the Rosillo show from yesterday, and they were kind of talking about this, and it's Collison's impact on the trade deadline, and he's going to wait until after to sign with the team. So do you pick up D. Rose because you feel like he's leaning to go one where, if he feels like he's going to go to the Clippers, the Lakers have to make a move on D. Rose. But if you feel like you can get him, then obviously you might hold back your trade offer for a different role. Because I think everybody's like, Darren Collison's pretty good shooting three, good at shooting the three. He's a good point guard. This is an ideal fit. Meanwhile, D. Rose brings a different skill set to the table. So that changed it. But I do look at a team like the Lakers who need him, and I could see them moving, a first and then contract fill to try to get him. Whether that happens or not, I'm with you. I feel like the Pistons are in a position where they're trying to move on from Drummond more so And I even heard the rumors, which I hate to admit out loud, that they would potentially move on from Luke Kennard to add to that Drummond deal, which I hate because I love Luke Kennard.
Well, the problem with the...
Yeah, but you'd be going to possibly a better situation, which could help. Kennard.
True.
The problem with the Drummond stuff is, like Woj just said, that the Hawks are not the Hawks. The Hawks are the main team that has been interested, but the Pistons want a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But like I think it was the Athletic said that if Atlanta was willing to give up that pick, Drummond would already be in Atlanta. And like for Drummond, is a team on a guy who has that player op and can bolt after this year. Is a team going to give up a draft pick, a first-round pick, especially if it's a pick like the Hawks where it's going to be top 5, top 10 type of pick for a maybe he resigns with us. Maybe
yeah, I mean, it would have to be so far into the future. Like, it would have to be a couple of years into the future or protected.
Yeah.
You know, so it's top 10 protected this year, top 5 protected next year, kind of in that vein, to make sure they don't hurt themselves long-term for a potential rental. I mean, shit, Jordan Clarkson's deal was 2 second-rounders for a guy who's an expiring at the end of this year.
And he's been fantastic.
He saved their season.
Yeah, so...
Like, him being able to come in, fill the bench, and move Ingles to the starting lineup was massive. Conley was out, and it got everything done. Like, that was a perfect situation. It only cost them 2 twos. So that's why, like, contracts this year are in such an interesting position.
Yeah, I've said time and time again, and we'll get into predictions now. Outside of the Twitch question here, we'll get into predictions now. I've said that I think this is going to be a very slow and possibly dead trade deadline period. I don't think the Drummond thing has a ton of legs on it. Maybe coming up later in this day we'll get more push on it, but February 6th is going to come up fast. And I don't think this is going to be a deal that's going to be able to be flipped around in 2 days. I think this is going to be one that needs more head of steam going into the day. And right now it seems like all the steam has been taken out of that deal, so I don't think a Drummond deal is going to get done. I highly doubt an Andre Iguodala deal is going to get done. He's likely going to be bought out, so we'll be looking at the buyout market for him. The Darren Collinson one's interesting. I think that, he's likely going to wait after the trade deadline. It makes sense for him. He can fully see what all the options are and attack those. The D Rose one I don't think is really possible. The Kennard one I think is just a rumor. I don't think that's going to happen. Outside of that, like, Cat's not going to be traded. Kuzma might be traded, but like, what can you get for Kuzma? And also his contract's not huge to get a massive piece coming back anyways. Right. You need to include a Danny Green or a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to make a deal work for a player like an Andre Iguodala. So in the end, I don't see any big deals making. I know that's a boring thing to start off with. Like, oh, what's your predictions for the trade deadline? Oh, I think nothing's going to happen. I think that's pretty boring and bad for content, but I honestly think that's true. I don't think there are deals to be made. And the deals that could be made to, like, spark the Portland Trailblazers that are now, 2 games out from the 8th seed in the Western Conference, they had the Hassan Whiteside contract, but Whiteside's been playing fantastic for them. True. Like, he's been their second best player outside of Dame this entire year. So it's like, do you want to move on from him? And yes, Nurkic is going to come back, but
and Zach Collins maybe too.
What is Nurkic going to bring that Hassan can't? And can those two play together? And can you just have Whiteside coming off the bench? And is he going to be still that impactful coming off the bench? I think that honestly a deal won't be done. Teams that should be making deals like Dallas don't have the firepower because they traded away to get KP. The Lakers that might want to, solidify their team, they don't have the contracts to really move anybody, to acquire anybody. Denver, I think they're complacent with where they are. The Clippers, I don't think there is a deal that could be made because PG hasn't been healthy, and I think they'd rather see what they are with a fully healthy PG, and I think that's why they'll probably likely explore the free agency market, likely more rather than the trade market. I don't know where the deals can be made to truly improve themselves, maybe outside of Oklahoma City trading Chris Paul, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I think that they would prefer to get a playoff run experience in for all the young kids on the roster. I think that means more to that team. We talked about this last week when we talked about the Thunder. It was just, they're such an interesting team. And I know people are... I've heard the sign-in trade for like Danilo Gallinari during the offseason brought up a lot as an option. I don't know that we're going to see sign-in trades be the ultimate answer again this offseason. I feel like it's more of a one-off that's being thrown out there way more than it should. I see this being a year where like the lower tier guys might get shuffled around. Somebody like Jay Crowder, who's not having a stellar year, but he's not bad. He's someone who has experience. He can contribute at a high level in limited minutes. I see him as a guy who could get moved around because he's on the last year of his deal. It's $7 million. It's not a make or break thing, but it's a nice veteran wing to add to a team who you can never have enough depth when it comes down to it because injuries may happen. I don't, the whole moving on from Cleveland for like Kevin Love and all the drama around that.
Yeah.
Where are we at now? Like it's been a week, nothing.
Tristan Thompson too. I mean, he's got a fairly cheap contract that I think is expiring. He could be a nice bench piece for.
Fairly cheap asterisk, but yeah,
it's like $13 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that bad of a contract. It's better than the stuff that's floating around. That's like $29 million for like a Blake Griffin. Yeah, he's making 18.5. Yeah. So maybe I was a little bit off with that. But yeah, I think that overall it's gonna be tough. Yeah, Marukes Morris, but then he just said some horrible shit about Jay Crowder.
He did dumb shit on the floor, and then he followed up with talking.
Yeah, and saying some super sexist shit.
Yep.
I actually got a trade that I think could work for Marukes.
Yeah.
Knicks and Heat. The Heat trade for Marcus Morris or Marukes Morris because it's a 1-year deal. After this year, they could just say bye if they don't want him anymore.
I think it's maybe $15 million.
For Dion Waiters, Derrick Jones to make the contract work, or someone else. Just someone else to make the contract work so the Heat don't go over the apron. And then the 2025 first.
So you're going to trade away the 2020 dunk contest winner in Derrick Jones Jr.?
I wouldn't move Derrick Jones. Dude, he's playing really well.
I mean...
Am I the only one who's like, this kid should not be moved?
Unless you're going to move on from KZ Okpala. I mean, KZ Okpala
who else on that roster who they can ship?
Yeah, KZ wouldn't work either. Because the contract isn't
James
high
Jones.
The fact that Derrick Jones is only 22 is shocking.
Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, or Derrick Jones.
If you
keep
ask
going
me,
up on that team, I would easily move Myers Leonard. I would easily move away from James Johnson.
But if you add that, then
maybe they can get more pieces.
Then the Knicks will have to add more stuff. Yeah,
see,
Knicks have to add $3.3 million.
All right, let's take a look at the Knicks roster.
Hold on. Well, all right, work that deal off. At least with Derrick Jones Jr., I think it's shocking that dude's still 22 years old.
Alonzo Trier.
I mean,
Reggie Bullock.
Bullock might be worth.
Kevin Knox.
Nobody wants Kevin Knox.
I would rather have Kevin Knox than Alonzo Trier. Are you telling me that
he's got more upside?
Are you telling me that Kevin Knox on the Heat wouldn't be in a better situation than
the
Knicks?
So you're saying Knox and Morris for Waiters,
absolutely
Myers
not.
Leonard, and the 2025
screwed
first?
on that.
Yeah, I would do that.
What?
They get a first round.
They get the 2025 first.
So
and Marukes isn't doing anything for their team.
So Marcus Morris and Kevin Knox.
Yes, for Dion Waiters, who's under contract for 2 years. Myers Leonard.
Kevin Knox, I'm selling him in extremely low. I understand that, but he also hasn't played a basketball player.
Yeah.
At this point, I get he's young, he's raw, he's whatever. But will they ever get there? No. But if I'm the Heat, I'm doing that trade in a heartbeat.
So you would rather
I'm doing that trade in a heartbeat.
22. You would rather keep 22-year-old Derrick Jones and not give up on him. But you're like, yeah, first rounder from 2 years ago, Kevin Knox, on the worst team in the NBA, and the Knicks, is done and is a trash piece. I mean, I don't understand what they get because Dion Waiters is still on the books for $12 million. Myers Leonard, I think, is still on the books next year. The Knicks get absolutely screwed in that deal.
I agree.
So why did we just spend 5 minutes working out a deal that just fucks over the Knicks?
Well, it doesn't have to be Kevin Knox. He named like 5 other players at the bottom of the roster who are interchangeable.
Trier.
I don't care. Any of them. They all play like shit right now. Do you disagree?
No, they don't have shit, but I don't think that they need to then move away from Kevin Knox just to
pick
get
one of the
bad
players.
contracts. I know, but like
they're getting a first. That's their goal. They're getting another chance to pick because they obviously fucked up.
But I don't know. What are they going to be in 2025? The Heat.
That's the hope. That you're hoping that they're not going to be good. That's what everyone was hoping for 2021, except Jimmy Butler. Bam happened. Duncan Robinson made threes at an incredible rate. Like Kendrick Nunn came out of nowhere. So like that's the thing. You're taking shots at the future, and that's all they can hope for. Kevin Knox, there or not, I don't care. Like that's just one of those situations where you put any guy on that roster on, so you can get Marcus Morris and not give up too much from your team. Make the contracts work. That's fine. I like Marcus Morris on the Heat. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So let me frame it this question. Which title contender needs to make a move most? Is it the Heat, since we're bringing them up first? You think they need to...
Well, here's the crazy
out
thing.
of
They
all
don't
the
have
teams
to
that are
because they're going to be
contending?
good for the next 3 years. The question for them is, do they want to lock themselves into a contract that'll extend into the 2021 period, where people are presuming if Giannis doesn't win a championship that he will be listening to offers. Do you want to remove yourself from the potential for a superstar in 2021? That's the gamble. So Morris is on a 1-year deal. That's not a gamble. That's fine.
Well, yeah, for the Heat, it's smart.
Correct.
Because, especially if you're giving up Waiters, because that frees up $12 million for next year.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying don't trade Dion Waiters. I'm saying don't trade for Dion Waiters.
Yeah, I get
That's
you.
what I'm trying to say.
I get you. I'm just saying, like, they're a team who they don't have to move on because they're being lifted by young players right now. And contract-wise, they're going to be fine when it comes to 2021. Don't go after someone with a long-term deal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So
for any team contending right now.
Chris Paul for the Heat.
Correct. Correct. That's what I truly believe.
So with that, Ricky, Dave saying Miami Heat are probably the title contender that needs to make a deal most. Is there a team out there that needs to make a deal most that's in contention?
I think there's two. The Lakers and the 76ers, where I feel like these two teams have to basically compete with each other for the sweepstakes for Derrick Rose, who we just talked about earlier, because the thing I think of is obviously the Lakers, we've talked about it, they need a backup point guard, and the Sixers are kind of in the same boat. And yes, there's rumors out there that the Pistons want a lottery-level first-rounder. Well, from a playoff team, you're not going to get that. You're not getting it from the 76ers. You're not getting it from the Lakers. So if they keep that up, Derrick Rose, he's going to stay a Piston. But I'm going to say the Philadelphia 76ers get it done. And the reason being is the Lakers will not want to move on from Kyle Kuzma. So those talks will end. And I think what will happen on the trade deadline day or by the trade deadline day, Derrick Rose will be a 76er. Ironic, because that's where his injury happened many, many years ago. And the Pistons will get Mike Scott, Zaire Smith, and the Thunder 2020 pick, because right now the Thunder are top 20. It's top 20 protected. So the 76ers are going to look at it like, we're not getting it this year anyways. Yeah, I know it defers to us next year, but Detroit, you can have it.
Seconds or...
I don't know. I'd have to look up what it goes to.
Jake, you might know.
Yeah, well, Jake is saying right now, our resident 76er fan, Jake is saying, no, the Sixers do not need Rose. So at least that's your pushback from 76er fans.
I think they do.
And Jake just also said, please no.
I think the regular season Sixers need someone who can take over games and score. Like, it's shown this year that when you have Embiid and Simmons out there, they're very good. Horford no longer can score as a fourth option. You know, so I like Richardson. He's a great piece. He's a good two-way, wing defender. Toby's been very good for them this season, but, you can't count on him in the playoffs. So I would go get someone who can guarantee me points and doesn't shine away from the light, has the ball in his hands, and will absolutely lean into it.
Jake says it goes to 2 seconds as well.
Yeah, I thought so.
And also Sapa's now, you weren't going to try to say it, and I should have just not tried to say it.
I just said
I
Sap.
can't. Yep. Yeah, Sapaznikov
Yeah, I just said
said the Mavs need to make a move either in the buyout market or a small move like Crowder.
I think they get Iguodala.
I just, in the buyout market, maybe, but I don't know if there's a small move to be made for them, because they don't have anything to entice people. I think their small move has already been made, like a Willie Cauley-Stein.
The deal I think that happens that I have is the Grizzlies will basically get Courtney Lee, who's done at the end of the year. He's basically like what Iguodala is. But the Mavericks will ship over the Golden State,
Second.
the Houston. I think it's Houston second. It's Houston via Golden State. That they got, or it says or Golden State, Houston, one of the two. They get a second this year and a second next year. So 2 seconds, you get a contract that's not going to stay around, and then that way, because the Grizzlies, to me, when everyone says they want to move on from him and they want to trade him for anything. Don't buy him out, because then you get nothing. Even if you're getting 2 seconds from Dallas, that's 2 seconds you're going to have rather than nothing if you let Iguodala walk away. Like, that's how I look at it. So I think the Mavericks will be like, hey, we got these 2 seconds. We don't really need them.
They already
Here,
got a first to take them. So
yeah,
they're in a good position.
Do you think they trade their first rounder, though? But
No.
Or can't? They can't because of the KP stuff.
No, I meant the
You're
Grizzlies.
talking about the Mavericks?
Yeah,
the
you
Mavericks.
flipped over to
the Mavericks.
Mavericks.
Yeah, Mavericks cannot trade a first rounder. I think
They would
in a
have to
very
trade
long time.
those seconds.
I think the 2025 is the first one they could trade.
And the comments from Twitch, they brought supposedly John Collins and Myles Turner are both on the block.
Yeah, I don't buy that. That's from Rick Bucher. I don't understand why John Collins would be on the block. He's been playing much better since he has come back.
Agreed.
And I don't understand why Myles
Myles
Turner
Turner?
would be.
I sort of believe
They
Myles
just
Turner.
recently signed him to an extension. I don't think that they would move on from
they
him.
found out Domantas Sabonis is better.
Yeah, but even then, Myles Turner's still a good basketball player.
Agreed.
Although one's better
But
than
can
the
you
other,
get a
doesn't
better
mean one's.
fit for the team?
I don't know. Myles Turner, I think, could still be a good fit for that team. I mean, he plays good defense. He could stretch the floor. I don't see where he takes away from that team. I think the whole
I wanna see
Sabonis
them
and
all
Turner
together
don't
now.
work together. I don't
Is
think.
old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it still holds up. I wouldn't trade a young Myles Turner yet.
Yeah.
But Collins has been playing better defensively, so I'm honestly, I would not move him. If
I
I'm
want to
them.
see the Pacers get some running with Vic healthy, get that full roster together, and see what they can do. I wouldn't move on from Turner yet because you do have the control.
And
you're
that
not.
was-
He's not up on a contract year.
And you know who would have been a better wet boy than Zach Lavine? Victor Oladipo. That shot was awesome.
Get out of here.
What? I'm just saying, like, moment-wise.
I agree.
Him.
I agree, but it
first
hurts me
game,
on a personal
First
level,
game
Sean.
coming back, and he hits
I'm allowed to be angry.
It's a 50
Because
a
the Bulls
40
blew
foot
that
three.
game.
Oh,
And the
they
refs
absolutely
blew that
did. It was
game.
awesome, and they sucked in overtime.
Yeah.
I'm just stealing these questions off ESPN.com. What rebuilding team needs to make a move most? They bring up Minnesota. They bring up the Pistons. They bring up the
Minnesota
Knicks.
needs a point guard. They're going to get in the draft this year. So in my mind, it's just where can you sell high on value? Like, is there anybody else who I know Roko's the one that gets tossed out there, but he's under control. So is there anybody else on that team who you would be okay moving on from? And what are you looking for specifically? Because I don't honestly know what's the piece that makes Minnesota a better basketball team. Do you guys have like something in mind for that? Because I don't.
Minnesota a better
didn't we
basketball
talk
team?
about trading for Chris Paul? Wasn't that last week?
That was one of them.
Could
yeah.
it be
Or no, it was
trading
the
Andrew
D'Lo.
Wiggins away?
It was trading Wiggins for D'Lo. That's what we talked
What they
about.
need to do is probably
Step
strip
on.
that team clean outside of Naz Reid, Cat.
I like that
and
Naz Reid gets
probably
the number one.
Jarret Culver. I said Cat twice.
No, but you said Naz Reid first.
Of course I did.
So
Who else would I put?
He's the staple.
He's the guy.
He's the face of the franchise.
I'll
face the
actually
franchise.
for once answer
Retired
one of your
his jersey
questions
already.
rather than diverting it. The Cavaliers have to make a move.
Yeah.
And they have to get rid of K-Love. And I think that this trade deadline, this is the trade that we will see. K-Love will be sent to Phoenix for Tyler Johnson, Frank the Tank, and this year's first-round pick.
I would do
Because
that.
Phoenix is going to try to go in on K-Love, make the playoffs.
I like that.
Because they're so close.
I like that. I'd pull the trigger as both teams.
Like, Tyler Johnson's done at the end of the year. Frank the Tank's got only one more. And if you're Cleveland, you're getting a first-round pick this
That's
year.
the real prize. Even though this year's draft class has been hyped up to not be that great, I would absolutely pull the trigger on a deal.
And then if the Suns
that.
miss the playoffs, you get another lottery chance.
Ricky, I'm
You
proud
get
of
a
you.
ping pong ball.
Good
That
job,
was,
Ricky.
That was a good call.
Yeah, I think if we're saying one team, like one rebuilding team needs to make a
Chicago
move,
Bulls.
who do you want to move?
Who's
Everyone.
gonna move?
Move everyone. Hold
We're
on
all
to
injured.
Wendell Carter Jr.
And Kobe?
and Kobe White. And everybody else is up for sale.
Really?
I almost think
You'd
that
give up
I'd
a
be
three-time wet boy, Zach Lavine?
Yeah.
What would you want for Zach Lavine?
The world.
Now, obviously, you would, Homer.
I'd be cool with getting a young prospect and a late first, young prospect, late first, future first.
Who needs him?
Who needs a two guard who can shoot lights out? Let me take a look at the playoffs real quick, or around the playoff
What do you think about
area.
the Sixers?
Thought about him.
If Jake's saying they need a scorer,
He is
he's a shooter.
potentially
He
really
can shoot
good.
from the outside.
Yeah, and he'd have a true point guard out there, which would be great because that'd be the first time in his career.
And he's shown that at least this year he can play good team defense, and that team does play good team defense.
Yeah, him next to Matisse Thybulle,
Yeah.
no slouch.
And they got a ton of first-round picks.
I would. So basically, what are we talking? Zaire and a first, and then contract filler. I don't know if they have enough contract fill
might
because
not.
Zach is 20 mil and Mike Scott's only like what is
I think he's 7.
that might be the killer.
I'll try it.
Yeah,
I'll try it.
We'll
But,
get trade machine up.
But keep talking. I'm about
He
to
hates
fit.
him though. So yeah, Zach spacing wise is perfect. Sorry, I read fucking retro. Yeah, Zach spacing wise is perfect for that team. It gives them someone who absolutely take last minute shots, who they can defer to at times, so that way their roster doesn't fall off when they hit that second unit, and them staggering Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. I like that move a whole lot more than a lot of things. Even the Derrick Rose thing, like Derrick Rose value-wise fits their need because of the amount of money. I get that his spacing might not be great for that
How
team.
many firsts do you think Zach is worth?
Well, how many years are guaranteed on his contract?
2 after this.
2 more?
Yeah,
I thought
2
it was
more.
option after.
They don't have enough. They don't. It's just not
Okay.
possible. They don't have enough contracts.
Yeah, that's
No,
Unless you bring in a
I'm
third
not. I'm not talking about the 76ers.
So-
I'm talking about someone else.
so
No, I know,
clearly-
but I was just saying, at least for the 76ers,
Yeah,
just trying
so
to make it
it's
work.
not an option. He's got 2 years after this. How many firsts? Back to my question. How many firsts
It
do you think
depends.
he's
It
worth?
depends on how good
what other
the
pieces attached.
prospects.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Zaire Smith, we haven't seen enough out of him, so I think you have to get back more. And especially knowing that those next 2 years are locked in at his price, for the amount of scoring output you get out of him, I would have to say a second,
So I got a
a second first round pick.
So yes, this trade is a little bit of homerism. Yes, this trade might have
Just
someone
realize
in it.
if it's bad, I'm turning your mic off.
No, I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think people are going to be on board with me.
Yeah,
The Memphis Grizzlies. They are going to get Zach Lavine.
as the honorary Memphis representative in this room, I will listen to your trade.
They give up Andre
think we have a choice.
Iguodala, Brandon Clark, and then I put
No.
3
No.
firsts instead
No.
of 2. And the only no, let me. Really?
What? 3 firsts
No,
and Brandon Clark?
And this is where the conversation happened, Sean, because it's a podcast.
What the fuck?
This is why I asked, how many firsts is he worth?
Not 3 and not Brandon Clark. Yeah, okay, but we just said Zaire Smith and 2 firsts. And Brandon Clark
this
is
why
much
I
better
asked,
than Zaire
how
Smith.
many is he
Andre
worth?
Iguodala is
Because
more
originally I
important
put down 2, which would be 2020 this year, which would be Utah's pick, and then Memphis's 2022 pick.
I just,
So, two late
I just
ones,
want to
probably.
say, Twitch is
only
also
thing
agreeing
is-
with me. 3 no way, LOL, too much.
And in that case, how much?
It's a little of a joke. I'm sorry that it,
Well, with this, it's like, because Andre Iguodala would walk at the end of the year.
But why?
Or the
why
Bulls would
Bulls
try to
want
flip him.
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense. I
No,
can
no,
see
no.
us
The
being
Bulls
a
would buy him.
middleman
We're
team.
we're trading it for Brandon Clark and then for first. We're
Right.
trying to get draft
right.
picks from
Bulls
Lavine,
would
and
buy
I was
out.
trying to
The
think
Bulls
of a
would buy him out.
I was trying to think of a playoff team, and the Grizzlies. Could you imagine if they could keep Triple J, if they can keep Ja?
They already
and
have Dylan
add
Brooks,
Lavine.
though.
Yeah, I would take Lavine over
Brandon
would
Clark
too,
Brandon
but-
Clark, yeah, I know.
And
Zach
Lavine
Levine's an
with a
upgrade
point
to
guard
there
next to
too.
him?
Yeah, Zach
Yeah.
Levine is an upgrade to there too. The team's not a problem. It's the fact that Brandon Clark's in the deal, and it's the fact that it's 3 firsts, and it's the fact that
what-
Andre Iguodala,
what
one of the
else-
most
what else
intriguing
would-
players this year, is in that deal.
What else would the Grizzlies be able to give up that the Bulls would be okay with?
Can you
What?
take out
Am I
Brandon-
taking Grayson
Can you take
Allen
out-
instead of?
Can you take out Brandon Clark?
No, you probably have to switch Brandon Clark for Dylan Brooks.
Well, you can either Dylan
And then
Brooks
remove-
It's either Brooks, Grayson Allen, or like DeAndre Melton,
D'Anthony.
Melton.
If you put Dylan Brooks in there, I would be fine. You remove Brandon Clark, put
You got to
Dylan Brooks
remove
in,
probably.
and then
I would
and
say
only 2
I would
firsts.
probably say
Two.
Iguodala
Yeah.
one
Brooks.
first in 2 seconds.
a first.
Give me a second there.
But if on the Bulls,
second.
like
You're not
and that's
getting- you're
aside
not-
on the Bulls, like how. That's why I asked how many picks is Zach worth?
Okay, but
that's why I asked.
it's
That's why I
depending.
asked.
I know that's what you asked, but it's also depending on what prospect you get,
complimentary,
and
yeah.
that's what we said. So you're getting upset that
Well,
we got Matt. We said that was a bad
no,
trade
but,
offer,
like, well,
but
the
we
Bulls-
also didn't know. So if you're just saying like Zach Levine for picks, then yeah, maybe 3 first-round picks. I don't know, but it's also depending on what team's giving them up. It's also dependent on what prospects going with them. So if it's Zaire Smith, you probably need 2 first-round picks. If it's Brandon Clark, you probably don't need any first-round picks because
Okay.
Brandon Clark's very, very good.
So-
if the Bulls kept Brandon Clark, you should be very, very happy.
What about Iguodala and 3 firsts then? Because that works.
No,
Iguodala and then 2020, 2022, 2024.
No.
I think
For
2
Lavine.
firsts would be plenty. I think that would be a great deal if the Bulls could get 2 first-round picks
For
back
Zach.
for Zach Levine.
And then if you're the Grizzlies, you get Zach this year and you got him for 2 more years. I think that could be a win for the Grizzlies. You move on from Iguodala. Iguodala still gets bought out. And then you give up 2 firsts, but you're getting a guy that can hopefully help
But like,
your
how does
team.
he fit on that
Hurting
team
my
with
brain.
Dylan Brooks there already? That's my thought. Is like I
You
could see us
move
being a
Brooks to the 3.
middleman. He's not big enough.
He's like 6'6".
Not
He's
big.
more muscular too.
I don't know about that. I see us being a middleman or in like a 3-team trade moving Iguodala somewhere maybe. Like I could see Zach and Iggy both being moved in the same deal if we're trying to include.
So
both
they're
these
going
teams.
to the same team?
No, like we're shifting.
Okay.
Like the Grizzlies would give up like picks to get Zach on their team, and Iggy would go to a great team, and then that great team would give a little bit of garbage to both of us. That's what I'm saying. Like they've got room to move players, and I think both of these teams have players who could be moved.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought with the Grizzlies, they need the one thing they're missing is wing. Like
they need a true wing.
Because you got the point guard, you have the great center, you have Brandon Clark, like you have your forward set, you have your point guard set. You just need another dynamic wing.
Dylan
Zach
Brooks is a good
Lavine,
scoring guard.
who could put up, who could shoot efficiently when he's not the only option on a team.
Yeah, it'd be crazy to see him point.
He can absolutely put up points. Ja right now and Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark aren't there yet as well to put up a ton of points. So Zach can also help them at least consistently put up points. I mean, it's a good fit. It's just and Brooks is 6'7".
Wow. He's
Brooks is what Valentine should have been. But yeah, no, I think that the Lavine to Memphis isn't a bad idea. I think it's a good team. It's just Brandon Clark is so valuable to that team that I think he's probably untouchable. I think they have three untouchables
he's
on
part
their
of the
team.
core.
That Morant, Clark, and
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Jarret Jackson Jr. are absolutely untouchable. And the only way I move away from my first round picks, if I am Memphis, is if I'm getting a player that will be here long term. Zach Lavine's young enough where that deal's okay to give up picks. But if it's not a guy that if it's a guy that's 30, I'm not giving up first round picks. What's up?
Camera's blinking. We're gonna die.
Oh, gotcha.
We'll switch
So
batteries.
I'll ask you this: you said the Bulls when you trade, rebuild, right?
Yeah.
We threw out the Knicks. Final question is who is the biggest name that could possibly be moved this trade deadline that you might be shocked at? That is an actual possibility. So don't be like, oh, LeBron or Russell Westbrook. D'Lo is the biggest name that you'd be shocked if was moved.
So I would say D'Lo or K-Love, but I think K-Love is moving. I think D'Angelo Russell doesn't get moved. D'Lo stays on the Warriors, and then it's just going to be something where I think if D'Lo gets traded, he's getting traded at the draft. Okay. He's getting traded at the draft after the Warriors know exactly where they're going to be picking. K-Love would also be another one. But I think K-Love actually is going to get moved. I think D'Lo isn't. So if D'Lo gets moved, I'm shocked. Okay. I'm literally shocked.
I don't know that anyone big gets moved. So Kevin Love is the biggest name that will potentially get moved during this trade deadline. I think that's it. I'm with you though. I think that more guys will get moved once the draft is locked in. And people are getting a little antsy, and they can move around with knowing what they would get if they are trading for first this year. I think we're going to see more draft day related trades rather than trade deadline, just because the way that with how many people in the league moved around this year, the contract lengths and the people they want to be open up for in the future, it's all combining down to I can see little guys moved, and K-Love is the only big name who is disgruntled, clearly, in his situation.
I think Chris Paul getting moved would probably be the name that shocks me the most because it's possible that it's happening, but it's like Cat's impossible, and I'm not going to name Cat because I don't think he's going to get moved. I think it's very impossible that he's going to get moved. I think it's mainly other teams wanting Cat that are making those trade rumors.
Absolutely.
Where Chris Paul, I do think it is possible that they move him because they don't want to be in the playoffs. They don't want to have his contract on the team. This could be his possible highest trade value. I don't think it'd be shocking if come Sunday we hear Chris Paul rumors start murmuring around. So Chris Paul, I think, would be the biggest name that at least pops up to me that would be movable. Final thoughts, trade deadline coming up in 5 days. Anything we didn't get to that you want to throw out there?
I just wanted to mention Retro said Rocco for me. Props. He was another one I tried to work out, and the only other one, him, and then also Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Kings. Yeah, I feel the Kings have to move on from him.
Bogdan,
have to trade
Malik
him.
Beasley is a name that we've heard for the longest time as being trade bait.
Apparently, rumors are the Kings offered a Bogdan for Kuzma trade, and the Lakers politely said, no thank you.
And that's stupid of the Lakers because they would have gotten a better player.
I mean, it depends on what your value is for Kuz, but I think the Kings have to move on from him because he's already said, I'm not signing with you.
Well, so unless they're not signing for $12.5 million.
Unless they're going to
he wants the money.
Wait to see who offers and then match him because he is an RFA. unless they're going to do that, I think try to get it as much as you can.
On the Kings,
him.
one final one that would shock me if it happened, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Buddy Hield.
Okay.
Whoa.
They signed him, but it doesn't seem like he's vibing there. It seems like he's pretty pissed off.
It's almost like they have a head coaching
Everyone
problem.
in Sacramento is pissed off, and maybe he's that disgruntled that they moved him. I would like if Woj dropped the bomb that Buddy Hield's been traded. I'd be shocked that it happened, but I wouldn't be shocked that he was traded. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm shocked that they actually had the balls to do it.
I would be shocked if you know what it would be par for the Kings' course though.
Yeah.
Trade away a very good player who's in his prime right now, one of the best shooters in the game,
and they would keep Bogdanovich.
But
not pay him. They'd let him walk. They would let Bogdanovich walk at the end of the season and trade Buddy Hield.
Kings need to fire their head coach. That's the move they need to make this
fire
season.
Everybody. They need to fire the owner. They need to fire the GM.
Who's in charge of drafting on the team? Fire him too.
Everybody needs to be fired. They might be somehow worse than the Knicks just in Sacramento.
Could the I got one actually. Could the Spurs move on from fucking Rudy Gay, man?
Could they? Yeah, but I don't think
like they're floating around. They're in the 10th seed right now. A lot of teams want a solid wing. He's aging, but he's good. Mm-hmm. He's good. He's not bad.
He's not good. He's good.
He's good.
I mean, Rudy Gay on the Grizzlies makes sense. Maybe I just can picture him already in a Grizzly uniform because he was on there, but like,
I was
right?
wondering about the Mavs, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's like bigger Tim Hardaway Jr.
Doesn't take the amount of shots Tim Hardaway needs to take.
Yeah.
Plays smart team defense.
He's like better Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
He's just like those two guys, so I don't think it would be a bad choice. I just don't know if like Rudy Gay gets it going.
Does he
push? I think
push
it's a minor deal at this point.
Yeah.
So
I'm literally going team by team, being like,
yeah.
All right, Golden State, who would get traded? Minnesota, we talked about a little bit.
We'll do that real quick.
Yeah.
Golden State, D'Lo. Right?
Golden State's got to be D'Lo. He's the only
Anybody
player
else?
left with value. I've heard the room, Alec Burks, because Jake wants to breathe into existence. And I've heard rumors of Draymond Green. I don't believe it because I think next year they want to run back their core and see what they can do.
So I'd say those two guys.
Yep.
Okay.
Minnesota,
Rocco.
And that's about
actual
it.
pieces. No, because like they'd trade Dieng to make contracts.
Yeah,
for it,
but
that
nobody's
doesn't
going
count.
to blink an eye at Dieng.
I would say Rocco.
Yep. That's about it. I'm with you on Rocco. Next up is the Kings.
Brogdon. Or
Bogdan. Is Dedmon still under
I
contract?
combined him and
Malcolm
Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Brogdon.
Jesus.
I would say Hield's in that list. Dedmon.
Shocker. Yep.
So Bogdanovich, Hield,
Dwayne Dedmon.
Yeah. I mean, they already moved on from Trevor Ariza to make sure they could save themselves some money. So a smart move by the Kings there. Pelicans.
I don't think they make a trade.
Yeah. They hold tight. Seems like David Griff wants to keep this group together.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing well since Zion came back. I think they've won 4 of the 5.
And when he plays at the 5, they've got like a plus ridiculous number, too.
Yeah, well, they got a plus ridiculous number when he plays.
No, but like, him at the 5 is one of the best lineups.
I know, but I think
right
he's
now.
like averaging like a plus minus of 12.
Jesus.
Like he's stupid if it, like he's...
Yeah, he was the piece that was missing. Now that he's out there, it's great.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I think the Pelicans are more buyers than anything.
Oh, wow.
I think they look to stretch.
Wow.
If they do, I think they.
Wow.
I think they look to find a stretch 4 because Melly hasn't been great.
Okay.
So if they make a deal, I think they're looking to stretch the floor.
Kevin Love on the Pelicans. Oh no! Did we just do a thing?
I'm working it.
If you're saying like, here's the thing: that, like if you put Derek Favors in a trade, I will kick you out of the room. So be very careful here. I don't think a deal can be done.
Is movable.
No, I don't care. Derek Favors is more important than that team. Derek Favors is better.
Retro shout out. Kawhi had 14 points in the first 8 minutes against the Wolves right now.
Nice. Pelicans, I think would be more buyers than sellers, but I don't
That'll
think
be
anyone.
interesting.
Suns, I
the
think, are
Suns?
same boat. I think they're more buyers than sellers.
Yep.
Do you think they would move anybody on their team?
I think there's a lot of people they don't need on that team to keep going forward.
Like who?
But they're like you said, they're trying to upgrade a piece.
Yeah.
They're not trying to sell off on somebody.
Like Oubre, Booker.
Oubre, I like. Booker, I
Ayton,
like.
I think
Ayton,
they should
like.
get
And
more
Rubio,
time
I like.
with that.
Those 4 guys together, they clearly need to move on. It should to find a position of the 4 that fits with that group.
Yeah.
And whether it's moving on from Frank, Dario, guys of that ilk, that's clear where it's at.
The trade that would have
They've
to
also got
work.
some young talent too.
Sorry, Sean. It would have to include
It's just not happening.
Favors. But it would be like Favors, Etwan Moore, Nikhil Alexander Walker, and then if you want to add a pick onto it.
All right, I'm just gonna acknowledge that as a thing that
Yeah,
could happen.
I mean, he said it was the only deal that would work, not one that he would do. And
Right.
again, the Derrick Favors is like Ricky. You know, we just made that deal with Kingy and Fantasy, and how you said Sato was the deal breaker.
Yeah.
Derrick Favors deal breaker.
Well, I mean, the thing that it's beneficial
money.
to, it's money, but also Favors is up at the end of the year. Etwan's up at the end of the year. Nikhil Alexander has been garbage, and I know Dave's mad that he made the world team.
Yeah, Soapy wanted me to ask about that.
But like,
yeah, because Soapy was in Discord last night when I was ranting for about 5
What were you
minutes. Like,
saying?
they're literally trying to have a conversation, and I just keep blurting out shit about Nikhil Alexander Walker being garbage.
they
And
shouldn't be in the.
They should be in the Rising Stars
Why shouldn't
game
he?
from World because he's been trash. He had like three great games for his rookie year so far, and outside of that, he is a massive negative out there. Like, I was high on him because of what I saw Shea do. I still think he will be a above average player in the NBA, but that does not mean that he deserves to be there this year.
Who should have been in there?
I'm not getting into it right now.
Who should have been in there?
I don't.
I mean,
know.
Jackson Hayes, but he's on
He's
the U.S. side.
though. No, I was going through the last two drafts. Hang on. Now I'm going to do that instead of look at this topic. Give me a minute.
Well, Spurs we already mentioned.
But,
We threw out Rudy Gay before.
The last thing
Yeah.
I want to say about the
got a
Pelicans,
bunch of guards.
We're on
while
the
he looks
Suns.
that up, is the reason why it has to be like a Nikhil Alexander Walker is because they're not going to trade Jackson Hayes. They're not going to trade Josh Hart. Darius Miller makes too much money, although they would trade him. So it's just contracts. Unless you want to do Jahlil Okafor instead of Nikhil Alexander Walker.
No,
but
it doesn't matter to
that's
me.
the only thing.
The fact that Favors is in the deal, I don't think they're going to do it. We did the Suns. Spurs, we threw out Rudy Gay. DeMar DeRozan's consistently been in trade rumors. I don't think that's going to happen, though. There's not been enough steam to actually make that a thing. I don't think they move on from anybody else. Maybe they move on from Patty Mills just because they have so many young guards.
I would
Maybe
be
they'd look
shocked
to
if
move
I
him.
saw a Spurs trade at all.
Any
I don't
Spurs
think they
trade.
make a move at all.
But we would throw out those three guys, at least for guys, the teams that haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Portland, I don't think is selling at all.
No.
Memphis, we talked about Iguodala. I doubt they make any other move outside of that. Oklahoma City, we threw out Chris Paul and Danilo Gallinari. Those would be two names to mention.
I think Danilo moves, everyone else stays.
Sleeper move would be Steven Adams. Dallas would be buying and selling. Courtney Lee would be the piece they move, but that's just to buy a piece. Houston's not able to make any moves. Jazz have made their moves. Clippers, I don't think they have enough to move. We've talked about Mo Harkless before, but I don't think they're going to end up moving away from him.
A Bulls-Clippers trade happens for Thad Young.
They'd be in a buyout market, though, for Andre Iguodala or a free agency market for Darren Collinson. Nuggets could make a move. They have Millsap's contract, but he's been great defensively. They have the ability to move Malik Beasley, like Dave's mentioned before, but
Juancho.
I doubt they're going to move either Juancho or Malik Beasley. Michael Porter Jr. has been playing much better as of late, so maybe that emergence has been able to push them closer to the buying market, but I don't think that's going to happen. And then the Lakers we talked about, they don't have enough money to move, but they would probably be in the market for a point guard.
Rodion should have made the world team. Over.
I don't think they're going to put him in there, though, just because of the stuff that's hashtag off the court.
Yep.
Hawks, we talked about them buying Drummond, although they're 14 and 36.
If they make a deal, it's for Drummond, and they decide to give up their first rounder.
Yeah, I don't think they should move
Or the
for
Pistons
Drummond.
decide to give up Luke Kennard also.
I don't think they should move for Drummond. I don't think they should move John Collins. Cavs, anything outside of K-Love?
Love, that's it. That's a big guy.
Literally anyone on that team minus Kevin Porter Jr. Basically, the two picks this year and like their pick last year. Like everybody else.
So Colin Sexton,
Darius Garland,
and
Kevin Porter Jr. I would 100% keep. Everybody else, whatever.
All right. Knicks, move everybody. Who should they keep? RJ?
RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox if you really want to.
I'm not saying keep him. I'm
Frank.
just saying don't have him be like a toss-in piece.
I agree.
Maybe he should have a little bit more value than let's say let's chuck in Kevin Knox.
I agree.
Sweetener is Kevin Knox.
I apologize. Fine.
Frank, I would love to see him move. Charlotte, any
Retro
pieces?
said that he would keep Frank over Knox.
Well, yeah. I think most people like Frank. It's just the fact that, we want to see him in a situation where he can play and be successful.
Name an unlikable Frank.
It's tough.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Charlotte. Any pieces that stick out to you that would be moved? MPAG's been brought up, but
They've got to. That's the
sucks.
thing. Marvin Williams is expiring. MKG is also a guy who could be moved, but it's like they're just a young team. I've heard rumors of like Monk being tossed out there even. I don't know that I would move on from him. I just think that that's the team where they're bad, but they're entertainingly fun, and they're competing in games, so I don't necessarily see them needing to go out and do something. I think you let the kids play.
Yeah, I'm just to bring this up about Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. What was he good at?
Defense.
Okay, right now he's got a
good.
91 offensive rating and 115 defensive rating. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
He was good. But when you take away all the other talent around him,
I know,
he's no longer
it's just
good.
funny that he has a 91 offensive rating and 115 defensive rating.
It's hideous.
Pistons, we talked about
Monk.
Rose, Drummond. That's it? Kennard?
Kennard's been brought up, yeah.
Yeah. Wizards, anybody? Bertans? I don't think Bertans is going to get moved, though.
People want Bertans. I don't think the Wizards are going to move on from him. I think they keep him under contract.
Bulls.
Nothing happens. We don't make moves.
But we talked Chris Dunn.
But now he's got a knee injury.
Yeah.
Right, Chris Dunn does.
I
Yeah.
would say Thaddeus Young would probably be the one that I could see being moved, but at the same time, we're incompetent, so no.
And then everybody else is buyers. So there you go. Unless they move Fournier in the Magic, which I've heard in my Magic Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Because apparently I follow more Magic fans than any other NBA team. So
Everyone
shout out to them.
freaked out. I showed it to Dave. I think I sent it to our text group where everyone's like, oh my God, did Fournier get traded to the Kings because he was in their like practice facility or their like workout facility?
The day before a game.
Yeah.
Or 2 days
Which
before
no
a game.
one was like, oh, he's there a day before they play him.
Yeah. All right. That's going to do it then for Trade Talk. I asked you guys a little, like 20 minutes ago, what your final thoughts were, so we just kept going on. We're excited about the trade deadline, and I wish we could be more excited about it because I wish more deals could happen, but I don't think it's going to end up coming to fruition.
Got to fantasy book some stuff.
Yeah, let us know what you think. If there's any deals out there that are making you excited, we would love to hear it down in the comments below. Let us know.